Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelove, and this is Speedplay Conclave number 19. We left off having resecured Iberia and splitting up the vassals there. We have the only person in Iberia who hates us in prison, and we're going to raise some mercenaries so we can invade Croatia. Now, we do also just mess around with our succession a little bit. The Swabian succession is still up in the air. We have 3 coalitions against us, the Catholic, Pagan, and Muslim. Now, I read a dev diary that hints that they will all fight separately, so we'll only have to fight the Catholics. That's pretty great. However, we go and look at it, and it looks like all sorts of people of various religions will join the war. So that might not be entirely true, and we might have to fight everybody. We do declare the war anyway, as the Empire is united and stronger than ever. We appoint some new commanders, and raise an army in Italy that we give all those great commanders to, and they'll just clean up the area. We put everyone else into staging grounds to hopefully just get large forces. We'll then get our ships and pick them all up and bring them to the fights. We are also plotting to kill the Spanish person we have in prison. Hopefully that'll work. And we also deal with just granting out titles. Since everyone's a viceroy, we're going to be granting titles multiple times. However, it's great because it allows us to get more control over the actual movement of the state and the vassals that are under us. A Muslim inherits the republic that we've got in Greece. We're going to have to deal with that at some point. We ship our forces just throughout. We're winning in Italy out loud because they're just minor territories, and that's not really much of a fight. We have most of our forces organized, and we're going to just try to declare war on a few places right now. We do have to deal with a major fight, but first we're going to try to get our Muslim vassal just out of his job. He, however, does not agree, so we're going to just go ahead and defeat his forces, and hopefully it'll be quick. And once we've taken care of him and all the trouble he represents, we'll be able to redirect these forces against the Croatians. You'll notice there are a large number of armies marching against us. That's a bit worrying. Our forces are rather powerful. We are fighting one battle that's going fairly well, and we do win it. We have a lot of forces just generally throughout. We do ship some forces over from the rebellion. We decide not to at the last moment, though, as there are a lot of people just everywhere that we have to deal with. We also lost one of our dynasty members, and we have to just reshuffle all of this viceroyalty just to the person who hates us the least. We clean all that up fairly well, fairly quickly. And now it's not really our problem anymore. We transfer some vassalage and go back to, first of all, messing with our council. And, hey, luckily he died as well, which is great news. And now Spain is just fully on our side. Swabia is fully on our side. And we have to deal with the rebel armies just a bit. It's all overall fairly doable right now, though. The king or viceroy in Sicily died, so we have to reorganize all that. It's really just a lot of stuff that's much better that we get to deal with overall. We do have to fight that rebellion as we inherited it, and that puts us slightly over our vassal limit, but it's no big deal, as we'll hopefully get this all resolved fairly soon. The biggest issue is the world-spanning coalition currently fighting us, and we ship a 12,000-man army up to just deal with that. We have 8,000 men coming over to reinforce. We transfer a bit of vassalage and really just get ready for this to all work in our favor. You'll notice that we did manage to lock someone in the dungeons. That's very good news. Clean up rebellion there. We won the first battle, and there's going to be several more to come. Well, I guess it's not technically the first battle, but the first of those battles near Croatia. And everything is falling more into line. You'll notice large groups of enemy armies. We're also reshuffling the cabinet fairly frequently. Small armies just throughout are now fairly present. You'll notice we're at minus 20 war score. This is a bit of a problem. While our armies are very powerful and we can just keep destroying the enemy armies, we are fighting a very large coalition of places throughout the world, and sometimes they do sneak up on us. Luckily, they lost that battle out loud, but they had equivalent forces to us for a moment there. We do win that rebellion. Unfortunately, we can't ask him to convert while we're at war, which is slightly inconvenient, but it does free up a large number of troops. We are winning some sieges. We're now down to minus 6% war score, which really hints that sieging territories is going to be the way to win this. We are declared war on by 16,000 Georgians who want to take over some of our lands. Honestly, they're far away from us, so we're not going to deal with that. Right now, it's Croatia. where, as you'll notice, we are now getting a large amount of Byzantine forces into the area. We are winning all of the battles and splitting up groups to start sieging. As long as we're able to keep some fighting stacks in front of all of our siege forces and maintain numerical superiority with these stacks, we're great. You'll notice there are 7,000 Muslim forces down there. Luckily we have that 12,000 army. It's just going to wreck through them, and that's very good news. We are taking casualties though, which might doom us in the long run. We do get attacked because we didn't quite manage to maintain numerical superiority everywhere, which was really the centerpiece of the plan. We do have those forces moving in now. We had to split it up. Neither group's really large enough. Luckily, they partially reinforced, so we do have numerical superiority in one battle. We lost the center, but we'll move in from the side. They do have a lot of forces just behind the lines, but once we get all of our forces back into that area, we should be fine. Now, with that all said and done, there is still quite a bit to be done. We do speed up a little bit now that all the enemy armies are more or less out of the way. There is still that rebellion we have to deal with, and then we'll be able to get back below the vassal count. And at this point we just start assaulting their provinces, as sieging control of the territories we're actually fighting for seems to be giving us the most war score. Battles are not doing anything except draining our forces. So we're probably doing more with our forces. Luckily, it managed to force peace. So just taking over territories seems to be like the way to defeat coalitions, even massive ones. You just have to have enough forces to push forward and actually achieve your ends. With that all said and done, we look for family members we can grant territories to, don't find any, and just start passing them to people of our religion and our culture. It was a bit of a slog, but ultimately I don't fear coalitions. We did fairly well in that, and I imagine we're going to keep doing well in others that eventually will come as we reconquer the Roman Empire, which is probably going to be the goal. We go ahead and just grant these viceroyalties. Just because he's not in our family doesn't mean that he won't get viceroy kingdom. So we do set Croatia up as a pretty large thing. We look for other titles we can hand over. We can't really hand over very many. We still have that massive rebellion to deal with, or that massive planned invasion. And we do give ourselves a triumph. Because why not? We've secured most of Dalmatia, and that's a very good thing. That's a huge imperial province that the Byzantines held onto for quite some time, for good reason. It's very good and strategic lands, and we now have the majority of it, the lion's share of it, you could say. We do go in and just smash that rebel army because we can. And yeah, with that said and done, we make peace. We can go ahead and transfer vassalages just throughout the region, and grant it all to our viceroy family member in Italy, really just shoring up his power base. From there, we're going to ship our forces over into the area around Crimea in order that we might destroy that Georgian invasion. And we do ship a decent number of troops, probably more than we actually need, around 18,000. We're just going to charge into them. I believe we have enough superiority in numbers that we'll just be able to carve a path through. We do, however, send the other 14,000 over just to be safe, and we win the battle, which essentially means that the war is going to end. We're at 51% war score. We'll just unsiege these provinces and chase them down. Once again, we're just handing out viceroyalties, and if these are territories controlled, first of all, more viceroyalties being handed out. We do also try to offer vassalizations, but no one accepts. We find out that these aren't controlled by the invaders, so we just make white peace with them, as I don't want to chase them down with something like 16,000 men in the mountains and lose them all. And we ship our forces back because somehow that Republican leader, who is Sunni, managed to get out of prison. Not entirely sure how he pulled that off. But we ship our forces back over to deal with that again, and put him right back into prison where he belongs. We try to take one of his provinces. He obviously refuses. We split our army up to just destroy his armies and then siege him out, from which we'll bring over the other 17,000 men and just destroy what's left. So we do win one siege early on. We keep assaulting provinces. We're up to 34% war score, which is rather low, but hopefully we'll be able to just carve our way through fairly quickly. And we already fought and won the war for Croatia. We win that battle, win the war, he's back in prison. Apparently he will not convert though, which is slightly annoying. There's a peasants' revolt, but we drop all of the forces except for the mercenaries, of which we have about 10,000 hired. We do manage to force battle successfully, keep handing out these viceroyalties to secure our power. We just give them to the people who hate us the least, and that makes all of our vassals usually pretty happy with us, which is pretty great. We are now going to ship these mercenaries against one of these Croatian breakaway states that still manage to exist. The idea with this is we're going to test out our theory about how to fight coalitions. The entire coalition is still going to join in war against us, so that's a lot of people throughout the world. If I'm right with my theory, we'll be able to just force victory in this war by assaulting their holdings. So there we go, we're assaulting the holdings, we're up to 99% war score, 100%, we offer peace, it's accepted, no one else in the coalition was able to get their forces in quickly enough to deal with us. That is a really major thing. We also go after that one barony, and generally we're just going to do that with these mercenary forces. That's really the trick to mercenaries. We also attempt to change the succession laws in Swabia. However, I don't want to deal with 2 imperial elections at any point, as we could always be at risk of losing one. Instead, we're going to destroy the Empire of Swabia and admittedly undo our own history a little bit. However, we've moved on to bigger and better things, and Swabia lives on through the Byzantine Empire, which we will hopefully remake into Rome. We do set up an elective monarchy for Swabia Minor, though, and move in to clean up this next Croatian group that managed to get its independence. So we do go ahead and just assault their holdings, same plan as always. You'll notice all the northern border became hostile, and is immediately okay with us again. So that's fairly nice. Another viceroy dies, and we have to deal with that. Just rearranging all of those viceroyalties. Unfortunately, one of our potential applicants really hates us, so we're just going to give it to someone else. And that really cleans up dealing with our vassals by just a wide margin. With that all said and done, even though it is running a little long, we do run our forces over into Italy, and it's just going to be a rinse and repeat of what we've been doing previously. They all hate us and are in the coalition. We have 9,500 mercenaries to just roll into them. The most important thing going on right now, though, is we are wheeling back council reforms, taking more power for the emperor. I do trade favors with some of our council members, which is probably not an optimal strategy, as they will probably attempt to get more council power in return. Hopefully they won't, though. That is kind of a loose end that I didn't consider, though. At any rate, we do continue to just sort of assault into these Italian provinces. It's rather straightforward. We are hemorrhaging money, or not hemorrhaging, but we are losing money holding these many mercenaries. So we are just going to try to clean up as much as we can, as quickly as we can. We reunify that viceroyalty, and consider an attack against Venice just to clean up all of Italy and Croatia in one final move. Sadly, though, we do have a truce. They won't accept vassalization, and I nearly went for it. However, we would lose 25 relations with all Catholic rulers. So we drop everything, including our retinues. We'll rebuild them next time and consider where to go from there. You'll see we're up to 7,100 score, pretty high in our dynasty, and we have our new in-game screen where the shuffle of vassals continues. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow.